Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are listening to the Thai Expat Daily Show. I'm your host, Kieran Mack. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe, and let's just jump into today. Over a quarter of people in red zone areas don't wear their masks, survey finds. A recent survey conducted by the Department of Health shows that 26.5% of people in Thailand's 4 red zone provinces do not wear their face mask properly while outdoors. The survey of nearly 5,000 samples nationwide from May 8 to 31 showed that 70.9% wore their mask properly, while 14.8% did not cover their nose or rolled it to under their chin. In the 4 maximum control provinces, Bangkok, Nonthaburi, Pathum Thani and Samut Prakan, 66% wore their face mask properly, while 26.5% did not. People are urged to wear their mask properly before leaving their home and should carry spare masks to wear when the first one gets dirty or after leaving crowded places, the Department Director General said. People should also observe other measures to contain the spread of COVID-19, such as cleaning your hands with alcohol gel regularly, maintaining social distancing from other people, and refrain from talking, eating, or drinking inside public transport. So, it comes as no real surprise to me. I think if we go out here in Thailand, you will always see people with the old mask just down around the mouth with the nose hanging out. That one actually annoys me, so you just put it all the way up, why wouldn't you? Or the mask just completely around the chin as if you nearly forgot. I mean, I actually saw a guy get out of his car today and he had the mask on in his car. And when he got out of his car, he removed it. I mean, just makes no sense at all, but there you go. But yeah, for definitely when we're out there, and if you're in Thailand, I think we all know that we need to be wearing our masks. And it's always good to have a little, bottle of hand gel with you, to keep your hands clean when you're out. I tend to you can buy them in 7-Eleven, little squeeze tubes, keep it in your pocket. Very handy to have. And then, try to keep space between people when you go out. It's hard sometimes because people tend to try to barge up on you, but, just push them down. Joking, don't. But all wear our masks a bit better. I think this is the moral of this story. A story from the Phuket News today about mass vaccination of working expats in Phuket. The mass vaccination of more than 28,000 migrant workers and expats issued work permits continues today as Phuket heads towards the reopening of the island to receiving vaccinated international tourists without quarantine from July 1. The aim is to provide first injections of Sinovac to 22,613 migrant workers and 5,758 foreign workers over just 2 days, yesterday and today. So basically, expats in Phuket have been getting vaccinated yesterday and today. Some of the vaccine centres were a lot more efficient than other ones. I heard some were very chaotic, while others were very smooth, in and out within 45 minutes to an hour, which is great. And it's good to see Phuket, vaccinating foreigners. Now, 25,000, let's say, expats they've done. There's another 25 to 30,000 expats on the island who have not been vaccinated. And for those out there, I like to tell you, keep the faith, right? I have been contacting every hospital on the island. I have been harassing the Public Health Ministry. And I finally got an email back from Vashira Hospital today, which basically said there will be an announcement in the next day or two about how expats can register. Now, guys, when I say register, that means put your name down and give them a telephone number, and they'll call you and give you a date sometime in the future. So hang in there. I think we're all going to get vaccinated eventually. We just have to, be patient. And I think that's the word. I think once they get this vaccination process up and running in Thailand, I think it won't be that long before we get, a vaccine jab. And at the end of the day, when you see all these restrictions entering Phuket and everything, I think you're starting to realize that you're going to need it if you want to go anywhere in Thailand. So that's the way the world is turning right now. So I guess we need to fall into it at some point. Civil aviation updates, requirements for domestic flight passengers to Phuket. This is just a quick update for people who wish to fly to Phuket domestically. And these are the rules and regulations so that they're very clear to everyone. Passengers must be fully vaccinated with the number of doses required by each vaccine or a single dose of AstraZeneca. The reason why they're saying a single dose of AstraZeneca for domestic travel is that there is a 4-month gap between the first and the second jab, and that seems to be the reason behind it. Test results may now be issued up to 7 days before the passenger travels instead of 72 hours. So that means if you don't have the vaccine, you need to get yourself a COVID test. Okay, we can do either PCR or rapid antigen, but now it can be up to 7 days. Passengers previously discharged from medical care for COVID-19 must have been discharged at least 90 days before traveling. So if you've had COVID before, it has to be within the last 90 days because they say basically you're probably immune to it within that 90 days. Vaccination and test requirements do not apply to children under 5 years of old. And air passengers will be refused travel to Phuket if their vaccination is incomplete or they do not have a test document for COVID-19. And this came into effect on June 1st. So just remember that if you're going to the airport and you don't either have your vaccination record or a COVID test, you're not getting on the airplane. End of story. If you come by the checkpoint, the first two as I described, and if you haven't got them at the checkpoint, you can actually do a mandatory home quarantine, but that would only be through the land border. So it is entirely up to you which way you want. So you can see that it is getting more difficult to enter Phuket now, so there's a number of restrictions even for domestic travellers. And finally, we are going to do a little quick update on the Phuket Sandbox because we've had more details today due to a meeting between a lot of government agencies. So it's all expected to be approved next week and be published in the Royal Gazette. The big difference from what was spoken over the last month or two is that tourists will now have to stay 14 days instead of 7 days on the island if they want to travel elsewhere in the country. This is basically, I said this in my video yesterday, that it won't be 7 days anymore. It'll be 14 days. That's if you want to travel to Bangkok or somewhere else. Now, if you want to come to Phuket for 10 days, you can come to Phuket for 10 days. No problem at all. And then you fly back home from Phuket. There's no issue there at all. So the length of time, if it's, you come only for 5 days, it's all fine, no problem. But if you want to go elsewhere in Thailand, you will have to stay 14 days to do so. You cannot go on day trips to Phi Phi Island or James Bond Island or Phanya during these 14 days. You will need to have had done the 14 days on the island and then pass a COVID test to be able to leave the island. You will be able to transit in Bangkok, but only on special designated flights and in a special terminal. The vaccines that you get, they must be approved in your country or by the World Health Organization or by the Thai government, and you must have the full amount of injections, and they must be all of the same shot. So you must have had 2 doses of AstraZeneca or 2 doses of Pfizer. You cannot have had 1 dose of AstraZeneca and 1 of Moderna. They will not accept that as fully vaccinated. You cannot stay in your own home. You must stay at the SHA Plus hotel for the duration of your time, if less than 14 days. But if after 14 days, you can stay anywhere you want then. You will probably have to do three COVID tests during your 14 days if you stay that long. And you will, of course, have to pay for all of these. Now, this is just a quick update. I am planning to do a full proper video when we have the SOPs and the PDF document in front of me. I will go through everything with you so we have a complete overview, official overview of what the Phuket Sandbox is. Now, one other thing before I go. There's a lot of YouTubers telling you to buy flights and all this kind of nonsense. Don't buy a thing. Don't pay for anything. Don't do anything till this is all published in the Royal Gazette. Because you're just wasting your money until then. You can see how quickly it changed from 7 days to 14. And that's how easy things could change in another week. So let's wait till it's all in the Royal Gazette before we start spending our hard-earned money on flights and hotels to Thailand. Thanks for tuning in today. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating. We are available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you like to listen to your podcasts. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.